What's up, everybody? Andre here from Battle Eterna, and I'm here to address a few things. First, I know we've been gone for quite some time. We had like 3 shows lined up with Anime North, YetiCon, and Fan Expo, which all got canceled. And because of that, we kind of went belly up for a bit because we were depending on those shows to start releasing our beta to the people who actually come to the shows and to play it. Obviously it got canceled because of COVID. And with COVID, we've also been unable to run private alpha tests. You see the gameplay videos that I've uploaded on the YouTube channel. And if you haven't seen it, visit the YouTube channel and get a look at that. So we've been put on a couple setbacks, but after reviewing a couple questions that I got and watching old footage of us at last year's shows, I've compiled a list of questions that people have asked in regards to the alpha and Battle Eterna in general, beta questions, etc., etc. Now, Battle Eterna is going to be coming out with a beta soon. I want to make that very clear. We are going to release a beta. So yeah, we're gonna tackle these questions. This is gonna be a Q&A session, and hopefully this answers a few of your questions. If you have more questions, leave them down in the comment section down below, and remember to subscribe so that you can keep up to date with everything that is going on Battle Eterna related. All right, so let's start this Q&A. You're gonna see me glance over at times because my computer is actually down here, so I can see all the questions and just review my notes on how I want to answer them. So here we go. Question number 1. How many characters will come at launch? Battle Eterna will launch with 13 characters when the full game comes out. This will be Season 1. We plan to release characters in seasons. So 13 characters is the minimum that will be released in the full game. Question number 2. Is there more than one way to play this game, or is it straight up 1v1? When the full game releases, there's only going to be the 1v1 mode. But we are working around 3 other game modes for Battle Eterna that is already written out. We just haven't fine-tuned it because we want to make sure that the core gameplay is well balanced and it's ready to go. And then we'll release updates with more game modes. To give you guys a sense of direction on what these game modes are going to be, there's going to be 2-on-2, 3-on-3. So Team Battle is one mode, where we're going to make it 2-on-2 and 3-on-3. There's going to be a party mode, free for all, which is up to 6 characters can fight each other all at once. There is also going to be a story mode, 6-player co-op story. You can go solo, or you can go up to 6 people to face a game master, read the story, go through the lore of Battle Eterna per se. So we are definitely working on those modes. So Battle Eterna will have a total of 4 modes. At the moment, that's what I'm aware of. Will there be more? Perhaps, as games grow, content developers' minds grow. So we'll see where that goes. Next question. This game has all the right values of a fighting game, but how do you prevent players from just drawing cards? Now I'm going to be looking at my notes a lot to answer this question because it's a very detailed answer that I gave. So we can never eliminate random play styles. The best thing we can do is try our best to control it. We've had players just draw from the combo pile at random and place cards at random. However, cards like purple and green rushes can't be placed anywhere. At times, players would play 2 green cards in one rush, or a purple card in the middle of the combo rush. Due to this, they would suffer a broken combo and lose their turn. Another way to reduce random play is with skill cards. You can't play just any color. For the only colors that work are blue and red. Even though you have to be mindful of your Eterna bar before playing either. With these very specific rules, we put an extremely tight leash on random play, but like all fighters, you'll have those button mashers. So I'm hoping that answers that question. I know it sounds very robotic because I actually just read it from my notes directly because I knew how I wanted to approach this question. But yeah, there are button mashers in fighting games. There will always be those button mashers who just do random things. But with Battle Eterna, to discourage that, there are cards that have very, very specific rules on where they must be placed. So You can't put a green card as your second or your third card unless that's your last card. Like, green cards must be your last card. If you put them somewhere before your last, then you've dropped your turn. Purple cards as well. You can't play a yellow card to use a skill, so we can't eliminate randomness, but we can try our best to control it. Next question. Is it a must that our combo deck maintains the number of cards in it? We actually encourage players to find their own way to be comfortable with building their decks per se. This is not a deck building game, but what I mean by that is, adjust the deck the way you find fit. The reason why it's 9 red, 9 blue, 9 yellow, 4 green, 1 purple is because there are characters that we intend to release, boss characters that we intend to release, that will have like 10 combo rush values or whatever, they're boss characters. But there's a character that will be in the full game who will have an 8 combo rush. So if you're playing a game between Maddox and Kain Revsol, the highest combo value is 4. So you can actually remove like 5 cards from your deck. So yeah, you can remove 5 blues, 5 reds, 5 yellows from your overall combo deck, because the value, if somebody wanted to go like 1 color specifically in a combo, it can't go over 4, because that's the highest combo value. So you can definitely shrink the combo deck according to who it is that you're facing. And of course, you can find other ways to manipulate your combo deck or adjust it to your comforts. Next question. How does low HP characters fare against high HP characters? So, Maddox is our most played character at any convention we go to, maybe because he looks like a Gundam. But he's our most played character, and he has the lowest health pool in the beta with 80 health. However, the lower health characters versus a 150 Kain Revsol, they have more sustainability or more ways to make them survive much longer and drag out games. Where Maddox, he can put armor on himself, and if his armor is used correctly, he can reduce damage to 0. Rosary, she has zone attacks that can basically, you have to get through a field of traps before you can even touch her. So there are ways that low HP characters can turn the tides into their favor. Yes, they start at a disadvantage, but if they get going, oh boy, they get going. So the health pools have all been very well thought out. I'll say that. Very well thought out. So don't be discouraged from playing a character just because it looks like in 2 hits he dies or something. Trust me, these characters all have a depth to them that makes all their values make a lot more sense. Next question. Will there be future combo color cards that will add more layers to the gameplay? Well, sometimes too much can be overwhelming. While we are open to the idea of introducing new colored cards for the combo deck, it's not in our immediate plans per se. Like, nobody's really thinking about that right now. We want to keep it just to the 5 because Bally Eterna is a very unique game that's probably going to be very hard for a lot of players to get into because everyone's going to be new to the genre, right? So we don't want to put too many layers in it because it will become it will become very overwhelming for anybody to just pick up and play, and it will discourage people from wanting to learn the game. The game doesn't have to be too complicated. It doesn't need to be overly technical. It doesn't need to be, chess with artwork per se. It is a fighting game, and right now we think we've covered all of the essential fighting mechanics that are required for a proper fighting game to emulate on the top of your table. So at this moment, there are no plans for other color cards like black or something because every character has been centered around the 5 colors, where if we introduce a new black color, newer characters might have a greater advantage over our Season 1 characters, and we want to make sure all of our characters stay viable throughout the lifespan of Bally Eterna. Next question. Is this going to be a trading card game? No, this will not be a trading card game. This is going to be I'm not sure what the term is, so if anybody knows what that term is, please educate me. But this is going to be a character pack game where once you buy a character, you get everything that comes with that character. We feel that trading card games become very much like cars. They become sunk values. They become, they're sunk costs. You always have to keep paying. You never really stop buying the game. But with Battle Eterna, we want to encourage players and reward them for even looking at our game and playing it. And we don't want to milk our players, where I might need a part-time job, or I might need a full-time job. You should get a full-time job, but I might need a full-time job to just play Battle Eterna. I don't know if it's worth it. I'm always losing money. It's a sunk cost as the years go on, and at the end of the day, this game is going to cost more than Halo Infinite per se. That's not what we want. We don't want to disrespect our fans. We appreciate the support that they give us. We appreciate the fact that they are even looking at our game. So to respect them and their wallets, we don't want this to be a trading card game. I believe trading card games is like DLCs per se, where if you don't purchase the DLC, you'll start getting phased out eventually. And if you want to take a break from the game for like 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, it's going to be harder for you to come back in because it's a trading card game. Now there's new cards, new mechanics, new rules, and you're always learning. It's like the game is always, while it's not bad that the game is always new, but because it's always new, it can be very frustrating as well. So we want to make sure that this is a character release game. So once you buy your character, you don't have to buy Season 2 characters to keep playing this game. If you're fine with just playing Victor Nighthound, if you're fine with just playing Kain Revsol, then all you need to do is buy Kain Revsol, and you can play Battle Eterna anywhere at any time. So this is not going to be a trading card game. We will be releasing more skills, like additional skills, later on, but we're just going to release skill packs, so once you buy that, you get all the characters' new skills, instead of the Kain skill pack, the Abel skill pack. You'll just buy the skill pack, get all the new skills, one payment, done. So that's it, really. Let's move on. Next question. Will characters get phased out as expansions get released? No. We're going to ensure that Battle Eterna remains consistent throughout all the seasons. If we introduce new mechanics, we're going to make sure it stays true to the characters before the new mechanics. So we're not going to do anything that's going to be like, well, there's a new color, and this is what it does, but it doesn't make sense to the Season 1 characters or the Season 2 characters come Season 5. So we're definitely going to make sure that we stay true to Battle Eterna in all aspects, and Season 1 characters can fight off against Season 5 characters and whatnot. We're going to be very consistent. We don't want to phase out characters for the reason that I answered in the other question, which is we don't want people to keep spending. While we do welcome your money, of course, we don't want you to feel like you have to pay to continue to enjoy Battle Eterna. So yeah, nobody's going to get phased out. We're going to do our absolute best to make sure everybody stays viable. Next question. What is the end goal for this game? So with this question, I am under the assumption that you're asking basically what is our objective, not as what is the objective, because obviously it's to KO your opponent. So I'm going to answer this like what are your dreams and aspiration kind of a question. And the answer to that question is we want Battle Eterna to be like Magic caliber. And I know that's very like wishful thinking, but it's not impossible. And we're going to do our best to make this the best fighting game in existence in terms of tabletops. And we're going to continue updating the game. We're going to continue to engage our fans. We're going to continue to come up to shows and whatnot. So if I can answer the question more directly, for us, yes, we want it to be a top tier game. We want it to be one of those, you must play this game. This game is amazing. But at the same time, we want to develop a pro circuit, a competitive scene. We want to reward players with prize pools, and they can win prizes, prize money, stuff like that. So we definitely want the primary to be competitive, but we also understand, myself included, we understand that sometimes people don't want to be in a competitive environment. They just want to play the game, with some friends and family members. and whatnot. So that's why we're releasing the story mode, the team battles, the party mode. So there are definitely going to be new ways to play, but the primary objective is competitive. What's next? Next question. Out of how many more questions are left? 1, 2, 3. I think there's 4 more questions. So this next question is there an absolute best combo or a pattern you notice people doing? Okay, so again, this is a very detailed question. I mean, a detailed answer that I wrote out. So again, if I sound robotic, I apologize. I'm going to be reading from this, and then I'm going to summarize it just so I can clarify what it is I'm saying if it doesn't make sense to some of you. So bear with me. The answer is no. Due to the character passive abilities and combo values, plus throw in the mechanics of the skills, there is no best combo. This game, like many fighters, it's all about getting a read on your opponent. It's the prime reason why we don't really have a traditional deck in this game. We want to eliminate chance as much as possible. Many fighting card games do follow their own style of making combos, but you're not really making the combo. You're just piecing together cards that go together from your random draw, making it less about reading your opponent and more about hoping you're right. In fighting games, from start to finish, you are aware of the moves you wish to perform and how you want to set them up. To draw from a deck is like the game telling you you must perform an uppercut in 6 hits. There's no freedom. It becomes deck versus deck instead of player versus player. Where in most tabletop fighting games, you're reading the deck more so than the player. This is not how fighting games are supposed to be. The character is the blueprint of what you're up against, but it's up to you to figure out how the player will design off of this blueprint. Catching on to patterns and noticing habits, stuff like that. Since Bal Eterna is not about randomly drawing cards from the top of from the top and playing with the hand you're dealt, you can apply pressure to your opponent as you would a fighting game. Where in deck versus deck battles, you really can't pressure the player. The player just sits and hopes for that special card will show up before he or she dies. And since it isn't deck versus deck, you always have the freedom to set up skills, make comebacks, and change tactics on your time instead of waiting for the luck of the draw per se. So that's the answer that I give. So to summarize that, I, as a fighting game player who has professionally played in my time, with the Guilty Gears, the Killer Instincts, the KOFs, the CVS2s, stuff like that. As a fighter player, I never want to feel like I can't perform the combos that I want to perform. I'm kind of just hoping that the situation presents itself somewhere along the line. So I don't believe in drawing from the top of the deck. I don't believe in that. I understand deck building games like deck versus deck, but this is not the game for that. This is a fighting game. Players should know, for instance, like if you're holding an arcade stick or a pad for some of you, you don't want the controller or the pad, and the fight stick to have light up buttons, and the buttons that light up are the only buttons you can use. You want to be able to do heavy when you want to do heavy. You want to be able to do medium into light uppercut when you want to do medium into light uppercut. You don't want anything to tell you what it is that you're working with. You want to let the player know this is what you're dealing with. So, yeah, I hope that answers the question. We're moving on to the next question. Do certain attacks beat out other attacks? So, most games always have a rock, paper, scissors mechanic because it's easier to program around it. Blue beats red, red beats yellow, yellow beats blue. It's so simple that it takes away from the player. We don't have a rock, paper, scissors mechanic because fighting games aren't rock, paper, scissors. The goal with Bal Eterna is to make a fighting game a true fighting game with cards. Nothing is weak to this or strong to that. We don't want the cards to be the reason as to why someone is defeated. That's like saying I lost because of my internet connection. We want the player to defeat the player. It's known that in fighting games there are moves that come out faster than others. If we did that with cards, players would pick the fastest hitting moves for never-ending turns. We understand we can't perfectly mimic a fighting game, but we are doing what we can as close as possible. So with the statuses on the cards, we consider those like frames per se. You know, if you do this attack, how vulnerable are you, or how safe are you, and stuff like that. So while we don't have anything that can create speed moves, because we believe if this move is faster than that move, then people are just going to keep using this move to get first turn. And then you start falling into the rock, paper, scissors formula. We don't want to fall into that formula where heavy beats speed and speed beats guard or whatever like that. We don't want to fall into that formula. We want players to perform how they want to perform, when they want to perform, and get punished accordingly, like any fighting game. So, yeah. Moving on. The release date. A release date has yet to be confirmed. Reason being is we want to put the beta out first, and we still haven't put the beta out. We are not a console game or a mobile game. Where if someone discovers something broken, they can just... Anyways, they can just put it in, they can just put on an online patch, downloadable content, here, your game is fixed. We can't do that. So we're releasing a beta to ensure that when we release the full game, there is no 2 weeks later, you need to patch this, and then you need to patch that, and then you need to patch this, and you need to patch that. I think the issue that a game called Dissidia NT had was the fact that the game was never really polished, and the developers found themselves in a constant state of patch, that there was no consistency in the game, because things are always changing. Every month something has changed with something or with someone. So we don't want to keep patch, because it's like eventually you'll be like, you know what, these guys weren't ready to release this game, obviously, so until somebody tells me this is the last patch, I'm not going to play this game anymore. So a release date has not yet been confirmed, but I can say that the beta has been confirmed, which brings me to the next question. How do I get the beta? Of course, we'll be announcing when the beta comes out and where you can purchase it. The beta will have 6 characters, so half the staff. It'll have 6 characters for the beta, for you guys to play with, to break, or be like, hey, there's nothing to break, release the whole game. But the beta will be released with 6 characters. The characters you've seen so far: Maddox, Victor, Abel, Kane, Rosary, and you haven't seen Sophius yet, but Sophius as well. They will be the characters that you will be getting in the beta. The beta we plan to release around later, like perhaps this year. So fall or winter of this year, if not, then early spring of 2021. That's when we're planning to get the beta out there. So definitely you guys will be aware of when it comes out when you subscribe to the channel. You'll always be in the loop, or you can always check out our social media outlets at Ballyturna. It will be in the description below. So let's move on to... Oh! There are no more questions to move on to. We've answered all the questions in 23 minutes. So that is essentially everything that we're going to cover in terms of questions. These are the most frequent asked questions. I guess in summary, Ballyturna, from what I understand, from every show that I've been to so far, I've been to 4 shows. Throughout all those shows, I've interacted with countless of people. And they've all come from professional backgrounds of games, people who own shops, stuff like that. And from what I've been told, I'm not saying that this is factual, because there's millions of games out there, but from what I've been told so far, Ballyturna is a one-of-a-kind game. And because of that, we are being very, very diligent with how we are constructing this game, or how we're programming this game to make it make sense to the players, and we're trying to present it as strong as possible. So with the artwork, we have just one artist. We're a team of like 5, 6 of us. So we're a very small team, and there's only one artist on the team, and she is doing her absolute best to make sure this thing comes out as fast as possible in terms of the artwork. So I guess essentially what I'm trying to say is this game is going to be... It's a very scary game to release. because it's the first game I've ever worked on at all. It's going to be the debut, so I want to make sure the execution is correct, but at the same time I don't want it to be in purgatory either. So this is going to be a fighting game, as true to it as possible. I come from Guilty Gear, I come from Street Fighter, I come from CVS2, MVCs, I come from those type of games. I've always loved anime fighters like Melty Blood and whatnot, so I am doing my best to mimic the fighting game mechanics, like with ending characters combos is like the combo breaker from Killer Instinct, green canceling is like roaming canceling from Guilty Gear, stuff like that. So definitely Battle Eterna, it's a real thing. It's a thing that's going to be coming out. I'm going to be doing my best to release more gameplay videos just to show you guys how it is going to function as time goes on, just to entice you some more per se. I hope this answers all the questions. At this moment I'm just ranting, so I'm going to wrap up the video here. We're going to be releasing more videos, I promise you that. I know we've been away, we've been on hiatus, but we are back and we are coming in even more aggressive than before. We're going to be pumping out more videos. We're going to be answering more questions if you have more questions. And the release date, the game is getting tightened up. So 5 out of the 6 characters are ready to go. We're just looking over Sophius a little bit more, and then I'll be releasing Sophius on this video so you guys can know. I'll be releasing all the character profiles so you guys can be like, oh, that's who I want to play, that's who I want to play, that's who I want to play. That character looks interesting. Interesting. So we want to get all that out the way, and the most important thing for us is communication. So reach out to us, we will reach out to you. Follow us on our social media platforms, they'll be in the description below, and subscribe to this channel so that you know how and when you can get your hands on Battle Eterna. I'm Andre Wolford, and I will see you guys in the next video, or maybe at the next show, who knows. Take care, see y'all for now.